Welcome to Player 2 Start Podcast. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and happy 4th of July. Present tense, past tense, or future tense over here. I'm doing well today. Let's ask our co-hosts, Sakurai and El Gato, the cat, Meowzilla, how they are doing today.
I'm doing great, man. Been taking a lot of martial arts classes, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yep, I'm doing good too. Just trying to stay cool in this Arizona heat. It's pretty intense.
It's the same in
this week.
Texas.
Yeah.
It's the same in Texas, 100 plus
Staying
degrees.
inside.
Yep. That's what I'm doing. I'm not leaving the house. Like every day it's like 100 degrees. Excessive heat warning when I wake up. My phone is like excessive heat warning. I'm like, calm down. But yeah, it's been real hot down here in the south as well. Yep.
The good news is I don't want to go outside anyways.
Yeah, with our lifestyles, we'd rather stay indoors and play video games all day. That's how we roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's interesting. We never said it before, but we all live in the southern part of the United States. I live in Florida, so I'm also like sweating my butt off.
And probably very humid out your way.
Oh yeah, like last night when we were playing Battle Bit, I was so hot in this room. I was like, who turned the AC up to 77? I turned that sucker back down.
Seems like somebody doesn't mind paying high electric bill right here.
Man, if I'm playing and I'm sweating like that, no.
No, I agree.
And these PCs put off some heat.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make it better.
Yep, absolutely. All the fans running at high speed.
Mm-hmm.
Got to turn the air conditioning up so nothing burns out. But I doubt that's gonna happen. Yeah, it's not. I got plenty of fans. I should be fine.
Knock on wood.
Am I? I have no wood. Anyway, today's topic is not about heat. Today's main topic that we're gonna get into eventually is about DLCs. What DLC is, what it entails, what it used to be, what it is now, what it's going to be, I guess. But first, let's do a little recap, and I'll let you start that, Sakurai.
Yeah. So I'd like to read the comments real quick from our last episode, and that's the episode where we talked about Hell Let Loose update, Zelda, and War Thunder. And the first comment is from at John Catterfeld 6788. And he says, on top of the Hell Let Loose update, you should talk about the squad update. You should also talk about the Star Wars game coming out. Interested to hear about No Man's Sky updates. Is it worth it to get back into No Man's Skies for it? So let me take that apart. The squad update, yes, I want to talk about it. I need to play more squad before I say anything further about it. Jock, do you play squad?
Yeah. I haven't played since the update came out. I actually had to uninstall a bunch of games to make space for some other games, which kind of points to the fact that I need another hard drive, SSD. But we're gonna get to that when we get to that.
Right. So I will unpack squad update soon. Maybe I'll just do like a one-off episode on it. And I'm assuming the Star Wars game he's talking about is the open world one. Kat, I think we talked briefly about this, didn't we?
Yes, and I don't even remember what that game is called, but I did watch gameplay the very first time I saw it.
No, not Survivor.
No,
it's a new one.
Oh yeah. I remember. Okay, continue. Sorry for the intrusion.
Look up the title of it, Zach. The first time I saw the trailer, I wasn't sure. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like super loyal to the Survivor game that I had been waiting for so long, and I'm like, I'm not playing this other. But I don't know. I've watched some more trailers on it, and then talked to some people, and I'm actually really intrigued by the open world concept of it.
Me too.
Knowing that they made the game so that you could kind of go off and explore, and that is such that's such a me thing. I love doing that, going off and exploring and having squirrel moments and be like, what's that over there? And I'm pretty excited about it, but I don't know when it releases. I've been so consumed by Zelda that one will be on the list for
in
another day.
2024, so next year.
Good. Because if it came out right now, I'd really be in trouble. I'd have way too many games on my list.
Too many games, yeah.
It's called Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
That's the name of it.
I remember. Looks good.
I want to play it. It's by Ubisoft, and Ubisoft gets a lot of hate, especially in our Discord. But I mean, I played Far Cry 6 recently, and it's fine. You know, I'm expecting something in term like that. Like I think it's gonna be good. I want it to be fun. I don't want it to be tedious. I'm excited for it. Hopefully,
I'm not. You know, I'm not at all. You know why?
Why?
Because something's coming out in September that I'm super excited for.
Oh yeah.
Can you guess what that is? It is Starfield. Yeah. Starfield. It looks so good. So good. And the customization, the open world generation, everything. I know Todd Howard gets a lot of hate. And but at the same time, you can love the guy and hate the guy at the same time. But you know, they release some exceptionally good games, like Skyrim still played today, still releases on every single new console that comes out. One of the best games of all time. You know, Fallout series so good. Fallout 4 was okay. You know, I'm not a big fan, but I still enjoyed it. I played it. You know, Fallout 3, so on and so forth. But now with Starfield coming out, I am actually really excited, and the computer demands are insane. So I hope, you know, I've got a fairly decent computer. You know, I've got a 3070. It should run the game, on pretty decent graphics, you know, when it comes out. But I'm actually kind of really excited for Starfield, not as much for Star Wars. But
man, I am also in for freaking Starfield as well. Like I've always wanted Skyrim in space. I don't know why. Yep. It's just like one of those things. But as I've been waiting for it. I'm waiting for it now, and hopefully when it comes out, I'll be playing it.
I struggle with space games, and No Man's Sky being the one. I think that's the game that kind of like. That's when I finally realized I just can't play. I did. I tried. I played. I would be surprised if I had more than like 15 hours in it. I didn't play much at all because as soon as I would get to the point where I'm trying to fly anything, nauseous. I just can't handle it. I can't handle it. And I really wanted to be able to play that game. So I'm interested to hear about the update. But I don't think I'll get to experience it, unfortunately.
How about you, Chuck? Did you play No Man's Sky?
So I didn't play No Man's Sky because when No Man's Sky came out, I was heavily invested at that time in Elite Dangerous. So Elite Dangerous was a remake of a game that came out in the 80s called Elite. And then, you know, Elite Dangerous used to be one of my favorite space simulations, but now not so much as it used to be because that game has gone down kaput in the drain. In my opinion, that's my opinion only. I had a lot of fun, but not anymore.
So I have not played the No Man's Sky update, so I really can't comment on about it. But if anybody else has, I'd be willing to hear some opinions about it. Yeah. So our next comment is from Yegros86. He says Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is such a fun game with countless amounts of side quests, infinite possibilities to be creative and build intricate machines, and 3 whole levels of worlds to explore. This guy should be a writer for Zelda. With all that being said, I spend most of my time looking for glitches to exploit, and there are so many, and it is so satisfying when they work. Sorry, Nintendo, please don't ban my Switch.
Well, I will say that I'm happy to report, because I'm very close friends with this commenter, that he is now playing it again. He has started over and has vowed to no glitch all the way through. Yeah. And I told him that I think that it'll be a lot more fulfilling, and kind of just prepare him for the wait for the next one, you know, because this bro was just glitching his way through life in that game.
Let me ask you, Kat, Have you been making those impossible looking machines with laser beams and all that stuff in Zelda?
I made one. I've only successfully made one, and it's almost like my pet. I will put it out and I'll turn it on or whatever, and it'll go off and kill like 2 or 3 of the little people while I'm just like up in a tree, just like watching the 5 turn to like 2 enemies, and then I'm like, all right, I got you, and then I hop down and I with my squad, of course, of people that go with me to help. It's so much fun. So much fun.
I've seen plenty of shorts about, on YouTube Shorts or anything on Instagram, on any social media with the, reels. I've seen a lot of people like sharing their videos of their contraptions that they've been making in Zelda. I personally have not played the game. I do have a Switch. I did not even finish the first one, which I know people will be disappointed in, but that's
for shame.
It's all right. But I'm going to move on. I know we've discussed news topics and comments only. Some news topics. I think we should jump on that right now. Does anybody have any news topics? Because I have one, but
Go ahead, Jack.
Okay. So in the last episode, I talked a lot of hate about War Thunder and what they were doing to the game and how the player base was sending a metric F-ton of reviews on Steam that were negative. The game was going into like that overwhelmingly negative nature. But so the good thing about Gaijin is they came out with a roadmap. They did some immediate implementations of changes that made the game economy significantly better than it used to be. So people are not consistently complaining about the game, which is good. And the good thing is they put out an entire roadmap that they're going to implement over the course of this year, and I think follows into early next year, into the Q1. But those changes have already started being implemented, like good economy changes, like you won't have to grind consistently for the in-game currency. But this is an ongoing process, and the reviews have started reverting. People are actually having fun and enjoying the game again, and they start playing it. I personally have been so preoccupied, which we're going to talk about real quick, about the games that have come out recently, that I've not played the new update, which it's been a minute since it came out. I've barely played War Thunder at all in the past few weeks. But I've been preoccupied by a game developed by 3 people that has blown out of proportion with 86,000 peak on Steam at one time of players playing. You guys know exactly what game I'm talking about. $15, made by 3 people, and it's insanely popular right now with tons of YouTube reviews. And that game
early access.
Early access, yeah, early access with already so much content. Imagine that, like very positive.
They have little surveys within the game so that you can give feedback on so many things. So this is an example of an early access game doing it right, in my opinion.
Yeah, and people have been comparing it to Battlefield, to Squad. Battlefield has a baby with Squad that looks like Roblox with so much fun with your friends, and you can have a clan squad this game is called Battle Bit Remastered. People already know that, which game I'm talking about, but it's so much fun, and we've played it together too. And, it's chaotic, and especially with the 127 versus 127 servers.
It's awesome, actually.
Really, really chaotic, and it's fun.
And for the type of game, people are surprised, but I love it for so many reasons. And I think, back to the comment that we had on our last post about the Squad update, I can't help but notice a lot of our community's Squad players have been playing BattleBit pretty heavy. So I'm sure it was perfect timing that this game came out if they weren't happy with that update.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I think like BattleBit's kind of like Minecraft had a baby with Squad and Battlefield, and it was kind of like just a mixture of all that stuff that people kind of like, and they just threw it into Minecraft, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, I like it.
So many weapon attachments, customization, armor attachments, like you can change everything. There's so much, and it's very progression based. So you don't unlock weapons immediately. Like not the whole arsenal is presented. You start with 2 assault rifles, and then you progress and you unlock more. Same with like if you're playing support, and this class system is so nice. Like you've got medics, you've got assault, you've got engineers with RPGs shooting across.
I love those RPGs.
Snipers. I'm not a sniper I've never played any game as a sniper, and I absolutely despise snipers. Even though I've tried it, but it's not my game. I like playing support, lay down machine gun fire, throw down ammo, or I play as medic. Start reviving people. I like playing more support classes than actual like sniper class. Like
I want to be good at sniping, but I'm just not.
Listen, I'm an average player. I'm not good at sniping, and that's why I don't like it.
I mean, I love how chaotic it is with 127 versus 127. Yeah. I wish they would add that to other games. Obviously, I don't think a lot of games could even handle that. And I think that my friend Ed said last night, he was like, oh, I don't want to play it. It's like playing Minecraft or Legos. And I was like, yeah, but at the same time... I love
that about it.
At the same time, like, you wouldn't be able to put like a game like this with high graphics, right?
Right.
You wouldn't be able to put that many players, and it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience.
You have to compromise so many things.
Yeah, but the gameplay is nice. It's casual and it's not hardcore. It's just mindless fun.
So another thing is, like, graphically, it's not that demanding, right? Like, let's say you have a potato PC, and I mean no offense to people, right? I have a decent PC. I don't have a 40 series. I have 32 gigs of RAM. I have everything on SSD. I have a solid processor and a graphics card. But even if you're running a game on 1070 or 970 or anything like that, the game will run perfectly fine for you. That's the good thing about that game is you don't need a powerful machine, like for instance to admire the visual or the eye candy of the game. Like with certain games, you're looking at the cinematics. Oh my God, this looks so good. My 4090, blah blah blah. Sure, you don't have to worry about that. The game has its own cinematics with buildings collapsing like they did in Battlefield 4, and now you've got RPG guys destroying buildings. It looks good regardless of the graphics, and I don't think it's going to lose its player base because the player base is not focused on the cinematics and how beautiful the game is, but on the mechanics of how fun it is to use different weapons. So yeah, it's a popular game. I think it's going to retain its popularity in my opinion, and even when the mass plethora of people that initially start playing the game and then wean off it, I think people will continue to play this game for a while, especially being in early access and with more content to come out. They already released a new map for it as recently.
Yeah, they did. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna say that. I'll separate on that opinion because I've seen games come and go, so I'm not sure. But if it does, you play it for the gameplay. You don't play it for the visuals.
Right.
It's a fun little game. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
For me, it's a community thing. I like that we can all get together and play together on a squad.
And the squads are big.
And it's hilarious. Yeah, the squads can be huge and it's hilarious. And we just have a bunch of, it's just really fun and funny content. I wouldn't go in and probably play by myself. I know a lot of people do. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just glad that I'm over 50 kills now because I've played this game for probably 10 hours, I think. It's chaos. And I can only play for a few hours a day before I have to take a break because my anxiety is just so much going on. But I still love it.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about Battle Bit all day, the amount of kills we've gotten, how many grenade kills or anti-personnel mine kills I've gotten. But, I think it's time we move on to our topic of today, which is DLC discussing. And what is a DLC, what it used to be, and what it is today. And I'll let Sakurai explain to you what a DLC is.
Well, I mean, it's in the name. So it's downloadable content. It is what it is. But a long time ago, it used to be like an expansion pack. It used to be game altering. But now DLC could just, I guess it's perspective wise, because I researched on this topic. And it could be anything from cosmetics. It could be an expansion pack. It could be, a new faction in the game or anything like that. So yeah, I think over time the way we use DLC has changed. But for younger players, it's been the same for at least 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, El Gato?
Oh, me. Yes. So I think that it can also be a perspective thing because, and I've thought about this a lot because I know at first we didn't disagree, but we had different experiences with DLCs. And I think that even if it's just a skin, or even if it's just you know, a faction or something like that, if it adds value to the gameplay that you have, then I mean, I consider that a DLC. However, in my experience with DLCs, some of the ones that I've played with games have added at least 8 hours of gameplay because of quests and missions. And then I've had, you know, DLCs like with Rust, where it was just, I could build swimming pools and stuff, you know, which did, you know, add value to the gameplay that I had. But I definitely don't think a DLC should give you an upper hand against other people in like online games and whatnot.
Right.
But I know those are out there. I wouldn't, like, if I like played a game and you paid $10, so you have a better gun than me, like right off the bat or something.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, that happens in a lot of MMOs that I've noticed. So when I used to play Elder Scrolls Online, I had the base game. But if you pay for their monthly subscription, then you have access to all the content, like all the other extra maps, so on and so forth. Like you can access that location, and if it has a raid or a dungeon, you can get different items from it. Regardless, like if you don't pay for it, if you're a free to play, well, you can't be, because you still have to buy the base game. I don't know if they changed that or not, but you know, if you have the base game, then you have access to the mainland, the main map. Then you know you don't have access to the other parts of it, which gives an upper hand to certain players. But it's still not a, you know, it's not a pay to win game. But I'm just generally saying, like, you don't have access to certain parts of the map, and that goes for plenty of games. For me, you know, DLC has always been, what new content am I getting, not what new skin I'm getting, you know, but that's my opinion. Like, you know, you explained, Sakurai, DLC can be anything because you're technically still downloadable content because you're getting a new skin for your character, which is a feel good thing. Like, skins are more of a feel good thing than an actual application thing. Like, hey, you know, I really like the way this neon Tron outfit looks on my character, you know. So I'm being serious. Like, you know, that's how people value it. Like, if it's a feel good for you and it makes you feel good, absolutely, should you get it? Not, that's your decision. That's your money. That's your wallet. You make the decision. Now, if it's a game changing thing, then, you know, I would look at it more realistically. But do you guys have? I know Kat just gave us an example of Rust. Like, she was able to play a swimming pool. I know you had some games I'm forgetting, Sakurai, that you wanted to talk about that had DLCs.
Yeah, for sure. But real quick, you mentioned an MMO, ESO, right? The first time I ever heard of DLC, which was pretty late in the game, I guess, but back in the early 2000s, maybe 2004 or something, there was Worldcraft, and then they came out with expansion packs, but it was always said like expansion DLC, and at that time you would go out to a not Radio Shack, but you would go out to a store, a brick and mortar, and you would buy the expansion pack, put the CD in your drive, and then you'd have the expansion. Then they started, you'd be able to download it, and that's why they called it DLC. So that was like the first time I ever seen it, even though that term DLC has been out since a long time. I looked it up one time, and it said that the first DLC on consoles was on the Dreamcast, and I was like, "What? Really? The Dreamcast had DLCs?" So
internet sound is going off in my head now.
Yeah, right. Like, it was back in the 90s that they had DLCs, but I didn't know until World of Warcraft. But yeah, that kind of like tripped me up. And the same thing. Once you got an expansion pack, you got into a new world. You had sometimes even different classes or different mounts and stuff, and you'd come back to the standard area, and everybody like, "Whoa, look at this! What did you get that thing?
Man, that looks so cool!" But now everybody has it. You know, now you can just go online, go into the Steam launcher, go to the DLC, and, you know, oh, this game released a DLC. Hell yeah, I'll buy it. But, you know, most people, like smart people, wait for sales, and, you know, they'll wait till the, you know, DLC or the game goes on sale before they buy it. Not me.
Unless it's a cat outfit, and then I will buy it right away.
Right now, premium price. Here's my card. Take it, swipe it.
I mean, for the most part, though, like a lot of the DLCs, most of my DLCs are more functional kind of DLCs, but I do buy DLCs Especially, I'll say this: I've bought a DLC for Hell Let Loose for the skins. I don't even use the skins. I just bought it just to support Hell Let Loose.
I didn't.
I just because I played so many hours in that game. I was just like,
Yeah.
you know what? They deserve the money. So I bought the
More
skins
money.
for that. Yeah,
I don't know if people would agree with you these days with that, with that trailer that came out that they
Yeah, they made a
apologized for, but
trailer.
yeah,
Yeah.
they apologized for it. I don't know what they were doing when they were pushing it out, but they did apologize. But regardless,
That was-
I know
that was-
you poke fun at Warhammer, a lot for their
sure.
DLCs.
So like I always get mad at Total War Warhammer.
Yeah.
Not the other Warhammer series, but
Yeah.
Total War, their series, they release the game, and then they release 1,000 more factions, and each faction's like $20, and you're like, why didn't you release the game with most of these factions intact? And when you release a DLC, make the DLC to actually have an impact in the game, not
Yeah.
like just another faction. I feel like they just released the
Yeah.
game halfway, and then you have to pay for the extra factions. And I
So
get it,
yeah.
but it just gets on my nerves. It grinds my gears.
I understand, but let me be the devil's advocate, right? How many people play Total War series?
I have no idea.
Probably just Zach.
Imagine, right?
Just kidding.
There's a niche audience, right? So Total War
Yeah.
games are a niche audience, not hundreds of thousands of people played. Like, if you
Agreed.
have 30,000 people playing a certain game, all the time, like War of Thunder or, Battle Pit, 20,000 concurrent players, like consistently 20, 25, 30,000 people playing all the time. Total War series does not have that. Like, it's got a niche audience, people that play the game, and those people are diehard fans. And I guess to stay afloat and stay in business, they release those DLCs that are $20 a piece. I mean, Total War isn't as bad as like some of the games that I'm gonna talk about. Like, imagine Sims 4. Do you know how many DLCs that game? Okay, listen, I've played all the Sims series and I enjoy them, and I know everybody has done this, like throw people in the pool and just build a wall around it, let them drown, and the Grim Reaper comes in. We've all done, some evil things in the Sims, regardless which Sims it is. But Sims has 70 DLCs, and they're anywhere from skin packs to game-changing mechanics, new areas unlocked, and so on and so forth. 70 DLCs, and that's very close in comparison to Paradox. And Paradox, if you don't know, Paradox is a developer and a publisher. So some of the games that most of the games that they have built and released themselves have an insane amount of DLCs, and one of them Sakurai was playing recently, called City Skylines. You want to tell them?
Oh,
Are you going to tell them
man.
how many DLCs that game has?
They have too many, obviously. They have. Let me look it up real quick. They have 62 DLCs.
Yeah,
They have 3 free ones in there.
Yeah,
But
two. I think 2 or 3 free ones, but the rest of them are all paid.
yeah, and you know what? Out of those 62, I would say at least 50 of them are pretty decent. Or at least 30 of them are pretty decent ones. Some of them, like, they're radio stations. You don't need it, right? It's just music.
Yeah.
But there are really good ones out there that change the game and how you play it. And
Yeah.
I think in that respect, like, okay, let's say the parks one, the one where you build parks and stuff. It's like a mini game within the game on how to manage the park and how you do things within the park. I built the industrial complexes and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's nice. It's nice, but at the same time, holy smokes, what a lot of DLCs it has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a
and
lot.
That's not it. Like, okay, so I wrote this down, right? So Paradox games, known for DLCs. City Skylines, 62. Hearts of Iron, a game that I really enjoyed playing, 19. Stellaris, 22. I think 2 are free in that one. Crusader Kings came out a few days ago. Oh, sorry, a few days, 2 years ago. That's got 9. So every one of their games, right, comes out with a game, which already has content. Don't get me wrong, the game has a ton of content. Like, it's amazing. Like, Stellaris base game has a ton of content, but their DLCs are not just skins. And I'm just generalizing all their DLCs, but like, let's say Stellaris has 22 DLCs, maybe 2 of them are free and are soundtracks and other things. out of 22, let's say 15 are actual game changing mechanics. So that's what I like. Like, as long as they're not pushing out just, hey, now you can build this one new unit in the game. No, they're actually bringing a lot of things that are enhancing your gameplay, like adding federations and so on and so forth. That I like. That's a good thing. It's same with RimWorld, and I'm a hardcore fan of RimWorld, and it's one of those games on Steam that is overwhelmingly positive till this day. Like 100,000 plus reviews, overwhelmingly positive. Has 6 DLCs, which are 1 is free, 2 are sound packs, and 3 of them are actual game changing, and they completely change the experience of the game. Like, totally change it. Royalty puts royalty in the game. Biotech adds biogeneration cloning, and it completely changes the game. So I'm big fan of DLCs as long as they bring a whole chunk of content with it and that enhances your gameplay. If it's a skin, I could care less, but for some people it's important. So it depends from person to person.
So I want to talk about the Zelda Breath of the Wild DLCs, because those stand out to me. Like, when I think of DLCs for games, I definitely think of those expansion passes. I remember we had gotten both, and there were a couple of things that were part of the DLC that are now in the new game.
Oh yeah,
and I think yes, like the hero's path, and then the medallion, the travel medallion. And I remember whenever I think that was the first DLC. It was called the Master Trials. Yeah, that one was a blast because of the Master Trials alone. That alone was like 8 to 10 hours of gameplay. But I remember getting the medallion and thinking, man, this would have been so helpful during this game, just to even like get started. And the same with Heroes Path mode. I remember looking for some shrines for like hours. I could not find them, and that would have been really helpful to kind of see where you've been and not double
kinda
back.
like
Yeah. And so the new game, these are part of pretty early on.
Oh, wow.
And I wonder if that has to do with feedback from people. I'm sure that people were like, hey, this would have been really helpful to have in the game already. But it's still, even if, those were in the game, it's that alone still had a lot of content with the Master Trials, or the Trial of the Sword. And then, Zach, I don't know if you played Breath of the Wild all the way through. I know we talk about Zelda a lot, but did you play either one of those expansion passes?
I played the base game. I did not play the expansion. My kids played the expansion though, because they begged me for it. So I let them play the expansion. But cool. No, that's interesting. And the features that the expansion had, I checked it. I was like, oh, it looks pretty neat.
Yeah,
I just
there's a lot.
So if I get Breath of the Wild for my Switch, and if I get those expansion packs, do I get an edge over people that just have the base game? Like, do I get that medallion thing?
Okay. Well, you're not really playing against people, so I mean, it's just for your gameplay only. But
if you were to compare, maybe
in comparison.
Yeah, and you still have to do a whole quest. There's a whole story that you have to get through before you can get those items. So you don't just get it, but it's part of the quest line.
But you get access to it before the game ends, right? Like you get maybe some part of the early gameplay that you'll have access to. Okay.
Yeah, if the game ends, then that would be the end of that.
Yeah.
Alone.
I don't know if Breath of the Wild is on sale right now, but I was actually thinking about it the other day that I should probably get Breath of the Wild and actually play it. I've been contemplating on playing that game, that way I can just lay in my bed, relax, and just have the Switch and play it on that, plug in my headphones.
I would say it's worth it alone just to have the ability to track where you've been.
That should be
although
really
mine
good,
looks like now, because I have it in Tears of the Kingdom, and mine's just like my whole map is green because I've just been everywhere because of squirrel moments and being an ADHD gamer.
I know I've talked a lot of trash about games and stuff, but even the DLCs where we're talking now, like about Sims 4, City Skylines, Total War games, I still enjoy those games a lot. I wouldn't talk about it if I don't play them. I think the most I said today, I hate about Total War that there's so many expansions that should be in the game.
Yeah.
In Total War, I probably have like 3,000 hours in total of game time in those games. So like, it's not like I'm not getting. I mean, I'm not enjoying the game.
Yeah, you're still getting your dollar per hour. Like if you're spending $20 in an item, right, and like a DLC, and then if you're getting $20 worth of gameplay out of it, like you play for 20 hours. If you spend $20, that's $1 per hour, and you actually enjoy that. Like I look at it this way, and a lot of us look at it this way. Not everybody, but I look at it this way. If I'm buying a $15 game, and I'm getting $15 worth of enjoyment out of it, it's worth it. And people are like, yeah, but if you play it for 50 hours, you actually enjoy the game. It's like compared to watching a movie in a theater. You go to the theater, you buy $7 ticket for you and your date,
a bunch of candy.
Wife, and then you buy popcorn and soda. It comes out to like $60-$70 for an hour and a half, right? And similarly, if you spend $20, $30, $40 on a game and you get that much enjoyment out of it, I think it pays for itself. Like if you spend, like, let's say, hypothetically, Sakurai, if you spent like $200 on Total War, right, and you got 3,000 hours out of it, come on, man. I bought 7 Days to Die for like $7 on sale, and I have 1,000 hours in that game, and I still play it sometimes. Like they just released the new. Oh, I talked shit about them too last time. That it's been forever. It's been like a year and a half. They finally just 3 days ago, they released the new alpha. 2221 so it's still in alpha. All right, so almost 10 years now. It's still in alpha, but they released a new update.
Maybe they watched our podcast.
They had it in the works, but the sale was coming too. Steam summer sale is here, and most of the online gaming stores are everybody's. There's summer sales everywhere. War Thunder has a sale on their website. Steam has its sale going on. There's a bunch of games for cheap right now. So just to enhance their sale count, they released a new update, because if they didn't, I'm pretty sure people were like, it's still, there's no update in a year and a half, so why should we buy it? So I also get it that they probably pushed it for the summer sale, because summer sale is when kids are at home. Everybody's from school is at home, so they want to up their sales numbers.
I know we said it before, but I want to bring up this question again because I have it written down. What a DLC should be to you, and for me, the DLC primarily should be something that alters the game for the better. To some, maybe it is cosmetic, but for me, it is definitely not cosmetic. It has to be a functionality that I would actually want to buy the DLC for. I have bought a cosmetic DLC before, mostly just to support the publisher or developer. That's it. But most of the DLCs that I buy are like physically are primarily just to alter the game to another type of playing field. How about you guys?
So for me, I think that it can just be all of the above, honestly. An example I have is from Rust, which I don't play Rust anymore. That game is too toxic for me, but I have, I think, like 1,300 hours in it. And I do have a lot of love for it still.
She gets real sassy, okay?
She realized it's toxic after 1,300 hours.
A lot of people had to tell me that it changed me. No, so there was some DLCs for Rust that I enjoyed because it was like I could build a pool and stuff like that. I know I mentioned that earlier. There was instruments, but there was a lot of skins that I found use for in the game itself. So they were functional to me. Like an example was I bought a skin for the campfire, and it made it a cauldron, which lit it up green and would light up my entire base at night, instead of just a campfire, which would just barely light up, anything. And then there were skins that I would get for whenever I was going to be playing, building a base in the snow, an all white skin, green or earthy skins if I was going to build a base in the woods, things like that. But I mean, whenever I'm like, I'm going to go look at some Rust skins, I don't think of them as DLCs whenever I'm looking at them. For me, it's like, does it add, I don't know, something else to the game? So I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
For sure, like these little microtransactions bring revenue for the game. The publishers and developers need that kind of stuff,
True.
especially if they're selling it for a smaller price point.
Yeah.
How about you,
I mean,
Josh?
I did say that Paradox does release a lot of DLCs, but there's one good thing about them. I'll tell you what. So let's say you are playing with your buddies and you want to play Hearts of Iron, and I have all the DLCs, right? If I host that session that we're gonna play the entire day, which that's how the game goes.
Mhm.
If I have all the DLCs and I host the game, every single one of my friends that's joining the game will have access to that DLC so they can play with,
That's
which is inclusivity. It's I like it because that way if somebody likes the DLC, they can go and purchase it for themselves for their own single player gameplay, but they let you access to the gameplay without owning the DLCs because the host has it, which in my opinion is great. But overall,
It's really
That's how it should be.
yeah, that's how it should be. Like if I'm playing a certain game and it's got a DLC and my buddies, any co-op game, my opinion, if I have the DLCs, you should be able to play with me if I'm hosting a session that you don't need to buy it. Like that, it should be game specific, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, like you said, if it's game changing, if it adds a ton of new content that I'm gonna enjoy, I don't mind paying for it. Like I said, RimWorld, I don't wait for the sales. I pay full price for their DLCs because they mean something to me. And it will go for every person. Like, let's say Fortnite just releases new skins. Some people are really, really hardcore Fortnite fans. They'll immediately go. I don't know if it's Kat, you have more experience with this, not me.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite, I don't. So
I do buy skins
what is it,
in
Battle Pass or
Fortnite.
is it skins?
It's a battle pass, but see, I've never spent money on it. I just get stars with every match, and I let those like build up really high. And then if I see any skins I want or like emotes or whatever, I'll buy them with the stars. So I haven't spent any money. It's like the game currency that I've made. But there is the battle pass. I want to say it's like $10. And then for that entire chapter, or not chapter, season or whatever, you still can use your stars, but it opens up the options to more things that you can buy with your stars instead of having to pay for them. So I usually see what I want on like the first page, and luckily they're usually just free.
Battle Pass is another thing, right? So Battle Pass also goes for a lot of games. So War Thunder has a Battle Pass that you can get for when they release a new when they say, oh, in this Battle Pass, if you play the game and you go through tiers, and it's the same thing with Call of Duty. I don't know if you've seen it. The Call of Duty, buy the full price game, or you get Warzone. No, Warzone is free. So if you get Warzone and then you buy the Battle Pass, then as you progress in the game, you unlock more skins, more things, and then within that Battle Pass, there's more stuff that you actually pay dollarinos for. But so Battle Pass is another thing. Is that a DLC? I don't know, but Battle Pass unlocks more things that you can get. So I guess I don't know if it's gonna be a DLC or not.
That's kind of something that Arlon was saying, like how we were talking about early release stuff and how they keep adding on to the game. That's kind of like but you do have to pay for it. So I guess you're right. It is kind of like a DLC. It's something in between,
So I'm cheap, and so I don't really buy stuff in games unless it's something I really want. And in this new season of Fortnite, there's a per something Meow Schools guy. It's a cat guy, and man, I wish it was like a feminine version. I would totally have spent money on that, but luckily for me and my bank account, it wasn't.
You never know. You never know.
My last question was if you ever had a favorite or least favorite DLC, and I will go first. I would say for me, my favorite DLCs were for the Age of Empires series, specifically Age of Empires 2. But those were my most favorite because I got to play different civs. For least favorite, for my least favorite, I don't know of any that I didn't buy anything that I didn't like. So I don't know if I have a least favorite. How about you guys?
I don't think so. There might be something that I'm forgetting that I got and I didn't enjoy, but for the most part I will not buy something that I know. I like to look at reviews, and I know there's a lot of really, really good YouTubers out there that make amazing reviews. I can name a few, but I don't remember on the top of my head. Like if I'm gonna buy a new plane in DCS is a free to play game. Every single thing inside that game is a DLC, but it's worth it. Like if you want to buy a specific jet, you can buy that jet and you can fly it, but you don't like, you know what I mean. If I'm not gonna buy it, if I'm not gonna enjoy it, like I bought an F-16C Viper for $70 a plane in a game.
Wow.
But there were thousands of hours of developer teams that worked on that plane. So, but have I got 70 hours out of that plane? Absolutely. You know, I've flown the living crap out of that plane and I enjoy it. But, you know, I don't have a least favorite DLC. No, I don't remember. Like, I would not buy something. If I don't see a review or if I don't do my research, I'm not going to buy something unless it's RimWorld related.
Do you have a favorite one, Kat?
I think that my favorite would probably be the Master Trials for Breath of the Wild, because I remember how hard that was. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. And basically you go in with nothing. You put your sword back in the stone. You go in with nothing, and then you have to face all of the enemies of the game over like waves. And there's like certain rooms, you kill them all, you go to the next. But you start with nothing, no health, no weapon. And if you get to the third level of it and you get killed, you have to start all over. So it's like one of those
hardcore.
Oh, it's so hard.
I like it.
It took me hours, and I probably had some help from my roommate too. So that's probably my favorite, just because of how much more gameplay I got out of it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you enjoyed it, right? That was our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments about DLCs, please message us. Leave a comment on YouTube.
Yeah, let us know your favorites or least favorites and why.
Email us. Also, if you have anything to say about the podcast or you'd like something to hear about,
or how great Zach's hair is.
Oh, thank you. Please don't hesitate to email us or comment. We'd love to hear all your feedback, bad or good.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Happy birthday, America.